Prepare yourself for a sprawling discussion on just about anything, where critical thinking meets pop culture in a collision of mind-bending proportions. Please secure all neurons and prepare for full frontal cortex. It's time for Incoherent Ramblings. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Incoherent Ramblings. This is episode 01313, and we're talking about the rise of the geek slash nerd. We will use these words interchangeably. We're going to be looking at what's happened to the idea of geeks slash nerds in our lifetime and how they're a lot more popular than they ever were before, and the kind of our own views of them. So let's see who's here today. First of all, there's me, Joey Sham. We also got
Daryl George,
Will Hottinger,
Cale Anderson,
and
Booger
on delay as always. So today we're going to talk about the rise of the geek. This was my choice from last time. Today, as a reminder, Daryl, you will be choosing one at the end of the show, so you have very few seconds to come up, minutes to come up with it. Okay, so I think we should start off with the fact that we all watched or have seen and remembered it. Revenge.
Who's Mana over there?
That's Linda.
No, let's just go over it. No. Ready, go.
Phenomena.
It occurs to me that is quite the nerd reaction to that happenstance. So,
well, we watched. Kale's going.
We didn't silence all the devices. Shame on us. All right.
I'll silence my butt.
Yeah, because that's a mess.
Thank goodness.
All right, so
is that even possible?
No, it's not.
Is this another gas-filled episode?
It will be on vibrate.
Ew.
All I know is that your asshole's been talking shit for years.
You're hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Very true.
Check the show notes. Put an asterisk on that one.
Slippery as it has.
So, we all watched Revenge of the Nerds to just get the kind of the feel for the nerds. And I have to say, personally, from my point of view, being an R movie and being a kid when it came out, I've never actually seen it all the way through. I watched it this time and I was like, wow, there's actually a plot to this. So
believe it or not.
Yeah, believe it or not. And it was
not
very
just bouncy boobies.
And it was very good. Because, yeah, that's for kids who are our age. It was like, oh, when's this on HBO? And we just need to see this one scene. And we didn't watch the whole thing. So, what do you guys think? How was... I
think the boobs were pretty good.
Boobs were nice.
I like pie.
They were very 80s boobs.
At Harry Bush.
Yeah, yes. He was
very
good.
Nice.
Very old school.
Yes.
I don't remember him being in the movie.
Oh, he was.
He was
okay,
there.
all right.
He was on every girl.
All right.
So, what about you, Paul? You watched it, right?
I watched it.
Yeah,
Yes.
Paul and I watched it. Daryl and Cale have seen it recently or reminded themselves of it. So, but we all kind of remember Revenge of the Nerds. So,
We're all terrible sexists.
Wait.
what?
You forget to ask the one man in this group who was named after the damn movie about what he thought of it.
You don't count.
So
Wait. He's just our foreign correspondent.
So everybody.
He's just our foreign court. All right, Mr. Booger, who was named after in the movie. Can you please tell us?
Carolina.
What did you? Why don't you tell us a little bit about your nickname and how you got it?
Oh, right. I was wondering if this
tell
was
us
ever
about
going to
your
come
first
up.
time.
If you look on the notes, it's number 3.
Oh.
Or C on 1.
Oh.
C1.
C1.
Refer to 2.
Oh, so it is. Yes. Okay. Back in the 6th grade when I attended Encinita Junior, no, it's elementary.
That is a freaky
We
sound.
all like to go to what?
He's Cylon.
I just
Cyloned out.
Apparently,
You went to Battlestar Galactica U or something.
apparently that school is run by Cylons. Go ahead.
They didn't want the name to get out.
Anyway, before we left the school, we all had to go up in the mountains. I don't even remember what city it was anymore. But we were out there. Oh, good grief. We were out there, and we had to go to the mountains for some week-long get to know nature and become nature lover type of school where we learn how to recycle and how to look for animal poop and whatnot.
That sounds so exciting.
And while we're out there, one of the guys that went to one of the neighboring schools who was there with us just looked at me and said, "You look like Booger from Revenge of the Nerds," out of nowhere. And the name stuck from after there.
Hey, what did it stick like?
Stuck.
What?
Stuck.
It stuck like what? Hint.
All right, Booger.
A booger! Oh, that's hilarious!
Oh,
That was way too long to go for that one.
So, it did stink because when we became friends in high school...
It's so hard being the straight man in this crowd.
I didn't know.
Whoa!
I didn't even know your name.
Whoa.
One of the biggest
set that
problems
up
was
and no
that
one bit.
back during this age, I just starved for attention, and I loved the attention that nickname gave me. So when I went on to high school, I brought the nickname with me. And next thing you know, I'm being called Booger when I'm 38 damn years old.
My mom still calls you Booger.
Yeah. And you know...
What?
I said, my mom still calls you Booger. We'll be talking about something. She goes,
Oh,
how's
good grief.
Booger?
Yeah, my mom calls... I don't think my
She
mom
doesn't
even
know-
knows your name is Robert.
I'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, Robert. And she's like, wait,
Who?
you like Booger?
Yeah, my wife just knows you as Booger.
You know, Booger
I didn't know
Magallanes.
your name until we started this podcast.
See? Yeah, because you are Booger to all of us. You're not Robert.
Right.
So,
Well,
by the way...
actually, if
Go ahead.
He's a rapper now.
Yeah, man.
He's become-
He's playing 8-bit steel drums.
He's become a synthesizer. Sorry, our connection's all freaked out. You're like, meh,
Yeah,
meh, meh, meh.
he's almost frozen in there. Hey, could you do me a favor, Bug, and turn off video? Because I think it's a bandwidth issue. Go audio only.
I could sure give it a shot.
Okay, cool.
It's nice seeing you in your blue shirt.
Okay, so Booger, but we just, as I said, I watched this before I came here. He does look like you. He looks a lot like you from high school. So I mean, he's
Really? I never thought so, but
I
a
can
lot,
see-
a lot of other people
I
think
can
I
so.
see
didn't
it.
think so.
he's
When
not not like he looks now.
Not now.
Not
No,
now. In high school,
But in high
when he was
school,
younger,
I
and
looked
He
at
had a
some
lot more
pictures.
hair.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was the hair and the look on
Yeah.
the face, and while Booger in Revenge of the Nerds is not really token Mexican as much as Booger is, our Booger. He's pretty close looking to him, so we're
Right.
glad that we know, because Booger was one of the coolest characters in that.
Yeah, very true.
And
Thank you.
he was a nerd, but he
cool
was
for a nerd.
nerd. So yeah, that was good. So Booger, tell us what you think of the movie.
Say that again?
Tell us what you think of the movie. You watched it, right?
Oh, hell, of course I watched it. I watched it all the time. When, like you said, it was on cable, and it was one of those things that we got to see. I watched the ever-living hell out of that movie over and over. Loved it. I obviously, my tastes have matured since then, but I won't deny that every so often I wish I still had the DVD of the thing to watch every so often.
Now he likes his movies with a good Cabernet.
Yeah.
His father.
And a fine cigar.
Not with a booger, but a moco.
And a little bit of
From
douche.
Starbucks?
Yes.
Okay.
Moco latte.
Yeah, it's douchey.
Mocha chocolate.
So, my question to all of you is, unless anyone wants to just say something general about the movie, my question to you is, how are nerds portrayed in this movie?
I think that's
Oh.
cutting to the chase what I would like to maybe do. Yeah.
Do it.
All right, so they're portrayed as being socially awkward, kind of oblivious to people dropping subtle hints, maybe a touch of Asperger's syndrome thrown in there, but they're also shown to be industrious and clever, and so they eventually get their way because they outsmart the jocks who are generally a lot more socially angled, yet not as clever, or not able to see what's coming.
And to add on to that, I was thinking that when I first watched it, I was like, because they're carrying the big case around, they're just running into people, and I'm thinking, oh, see, this is part of the whole nerd concept, which is you just, exactly what you said, it's the socially awkwardness, but also not having kind of a view of what's going on around them. They're too focused on whatever they're focused on.
Well,
They're clumsy.
I guess that, well, it's just a sign that they're introverts, because they're
Yeah.
so about what they're thinking about that they don't pay attention to what's around them a lot of the time. Sorry, Paul.
Oh no, I was gonna say also, the movie it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's like Black Knight, White Knight, or good versus evil, but the jocks were
saw that
they were
movie.
yeah, it was pretty good. the jocks were like the complete opposite. So it was like it was what they aspired to be, what they wanted to be. The jocks were they got all the girls. They knew how to talk to people. They were they could play football and stuff. Where the nerds were just the complete
Which is
opposite.
why it's the revenge of the nerds, because the nerds never get what they want
Exactly.
until they outsmart the jocks.
There you go.
And I think also that, the concept of nerd, and for anyone who's younger, our younger generation, they may have only been around at the time when the idea of a nerd or a geek was something kind of cool, which it's
Willy
been
Wonka.
recently.
From Wonka, the candy.
Okay. There's a
There's
geek.
Just ignore that.
Wonka
Ignore that.
candy is called
nerds.
nerds.
Oh, I missed
Edit.
that completely. So anyway, and we forgot this.
That
Our
crash and burn.
Oh yes.
our freaking sponsor today is Vince Glortho or Rick Moranis from Ghostbusters. Go ahead, Paul.
What am I doing?
Just say who he is.
This is Louis Tully, and he's possessed by Vince Glortho, the Keymaster, and the terror dog sent by Zool.
Would you like coffee?
Do I want coffee? Yes, have some.
Yes, have some. Okay, so anyway, back to nerds.
Are you the gatekeeper?
Now, I'm calling this
I'm the key
this
man.
episode Rise of the Geeks because of that exact thing. In the past 20, 30 years or so, there's been a big change, I think, between how nerds used to be looked at. And I thought that Revenge of the Nerds was really about how horrible nerds were. And I realized watching it now, it maybe was the beginning of the whole idea of geeks and nerds kind of becoming cool. Because that's really what the whole movie was about.
But they're portrayed as the underdog. Mm-hmm. And then everyone wants to root for the underdog.
Right,
So
good point.
that puts you on their side.
And it makes them fun.
And you have to remember back then in the '80s, that was pretty much the stereotype that a lot of teenage movies were based off of, cheering for the underdog. So all they really did was feed into that
good point.
common plot.
Well, before we go on with this, let's talk a little about the terms nerd and geek, because personally I have a very different connection to them in my mind. So I'll say mine, and then you guys put in how you see them. For me, geeks were always kind of socially inept, did things that other people didn't like, maybe were into tech more, and then a nerd was just a really smart geek. Like, you could be a geek and not be smart, but be into all that stuff. But if you were a nerd, you had to have, like, huge brain knowledge of things.
Yeah, I think I like that. I think though a geek has more social skills than a nerd.
Yeah.
A nerd is very to me it's like a nerd is very much into science and math and like can do like formulas and stuff and it's all they think about is physics and stuff. And they can't talk to girls and they have a hard time being in social situations. They can't do sports and all that stuff. Where a geek is a smart person, and I think it's with the rise of tech and stuff that we've got more geeky. But I also think there's other types of geeks. You could have a Star Wars geek, someone who's really into Star Wars, is an expert on it, but can still talk to people, can still go out and be quote a normal person. Or like Kale's like the Lord of the Rings geek and stuff, or an Iron Man geek, and Joey's a Firefly geek, and Daryl's a computer geek, or
Back to
whatever.
the Future geek too.
Back to the Future geek, and it's just it's a nerd is
Almost more specific.
Socially awkward.
Yeah.
Is Daryl and I were talking about that, and I
About
agree.
how we're socially awkward?
No.
Oh,
no.
okay.
You might be.
whoa, you're a nerd as long as you're not a dork.
Well, that's the thing is that when I was growing up, that and people were throwing these terms around, is that whatever it is in me that rankles, it rankles when people try to put me in a box, and especially a negative box.
Okay.
And so when somebody called me a nerd when I was growing up, I defended myself. I would go off on them because I did not want to be called a nerd at all. Even today, when somebody calls me a nerd, it bugs me, even though I laugh it off now. Yeah. But I don't know. That really got me. Whereas now, I would consider myself a geek because I don't consider myself socially awkward.
Yeah,
That was a long way around to say.
Yeah.
I was reading an article. Go ahead, Booger.
I was just about to ask, so does that mean that you weren't really too much of a fan of B.F. Skinner since you didn't like being put in a box?
No, I did not like B.F. Skinner at all.
Or Schrodinger's cat.
And don't ring a bell around me.
I've been leaving on my
So
things.
I was reading an article.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Paul. Sorry.
We just committed copyright infringement.
Oh no, there goes YouTube.
know.
But it was a geek versus nerd, and just the physical appearance of a nerd and a geek is a nerd is still the slacks with the white shirt and the pocket protector, the nerdy rim glasses and stuff, and the slick messed up hair, whatever. Where you see a geek, which I think encompass more of a geek. Is
I always
you
consider
have
myself a
maybe
geek.
jeans, cargo shorts, sneakers, a graphic tee, and almost like, now I want to say total hipster because I don't feel like I'm a hipster, but our version of a geek is like being taken over by the hipsters.
Let me distill it just a little bit from there, because I think what you're getting at, Kale, is that the term nerd is more derogatory.
Yeah, definitely.
And it definitely has more of a bad connotation. And I think that when it comes to the personality traits of a nerd tends to be more hyper-focused on their thoughts and in turn a little more socially awkward. And I think a nerd is also more likely to have expertise in like fiction trivia and things like that, whereas they also might be a math genius or some sort of science genius.
Jason Kwan.
And they can apply.
Yeah.
They like if they have someone give them a direction, like, hey, there's a problem we need to have solved, they can go solve it, but they're usually not proactive enough to actually pick up themselves and go solve a problem or identify the problem in the first place. It's kind of like they have this vast expertise that can be steered by someone else in the direction to solve something. However, a geek is usually a lot more industrious. And I think geeks, in terms of, they're usually going to be more likely to understand tools and technology, and they're going to be out there in the world solving things on their own.
More like an engineer.
Right, an engineer is a good example. Or, think about even the term geek squad. What do?
Yeah.
They come to your house and fix your computer. So they're definitely useful, and their knowledge of geekery tends to be something that can be applied to be productive. And then there's also the aspect of knowing a bunch of trivia about Star Wars and things like that. That's also part of geekdom, but I kind of think you're there's all sorts of crossover between the two, but I think that you're more likely to be a nerd if the only thing you have expertise in is like Star Trek. And that's, you're not necessarily good at math or science or things like that, but you're just like hyper focused on some fiction, and like exactly which episode Captain Kirk said a particular line and things like that.
And get mad if somebody like misquotes it or
something.
Okay,
exactly.
Come to think of it, I guess like ministers are kind of like
that's cool.
They're kind of like God nerds. Nerds. They know chapter and verse where hey, Jesus said this in Matthew.
That's kind of cool. I like that. The quintessential geek or quintessential nerd to me was a guy who went to school with Jason Kwan, who was.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. I was like, what the hell was that?
We didn't really ask him his opinion on it, too.
Just speak up, Booger. Well, let me finish with Jason Kwan, and we'll shoot over to Booger.
Yeah.
Shoot down on him. So Jason Kwan was just like so into Star Trek. He was a short Asian kid with glasses who was just super smart in math and science and Star Trek, and that's all he ever seemed to talk about.
Wasn't he good at chess too?
Oh, that's right. In gaming club.
Right.
Yeah,
In gaming club, he was skilled
at Vulcan chess.
He was a strategist.
Yes. So Booger, go. Geek, nerd, go.
Oh, okay. For whatever reason, I always use the term interchangeably. I never really focused on any difference between the two. So it was just, actually, to be honest with you, I heard the term nerd about maybe 9 times out of 10 as opposed to geek. Geek was a term that was kind of going out of fashion, just really wasn't used. So I never used it myself just because it just wasn't something to use. But in hindsight, I can see where somebody might be able to differentiate between the two. But realistically, I really couldn't establish unless I really started getting into the microcosm and breaking out the magnifying glass, which really I didn't care about it enough to do.
That's very interesting, that the idea that geek was probably around before the word nerd, and it probably meant something different. And then as it's been brought back now, it seems geek has become kind of a cooler nerd in a way.
Well, actually, the term geek comes from the old carnival days. The geek was the guy who bit the head off of chickens.
Oh,
in the carnival.
That's pretty cool.
So
but if somebody knew where the word nerd came from.
Yeah, actually, I believe the first.
Shut up, dude, about the Wonka.
The first documented appearance of nerd.
Of course, Paul would know.
Yes, I did a little research. Was actually the name of a creature in Dr. Seuss's book, If I Ran the Zoo, in 1950.
That's cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So I think that we can pretty much interchange nerd and geek. I mean, they're pretty much the same. It's just interesting to look at how they seem to. I mean, for me,
there are like 50 shades of nerddom.
Oh yeah.
We need to write that
50
book.
Shades of Nerd.
We need 50 Shades of Nerd or 50 Shades of Geek.
Or 50
Before you
Shades of
even
Geek, they
get to
cross
Geek.
over.
Yeah, I know. Before it crosses over to Geek, yeah. Okay.
But I think it is interchangeable now because there's like the show The Nerdist,
Yeah.
and stuff, and the geek shows, and it really, I think the stereotypical look that we saw in Revenge of the Nerds is not in the public right now. That's not what people perceive a geek and a nerd now. It's like Big Bang Theory.
Right.
That's the geek and the nerd.
Well,
they're still cool.
Let's get to that.
I think
but
we should focus on Big Bang Theory
We
because
will,
it's a little
yeah.
more modern.
I think that's good, but let's hold off
Well,
on that
well,
for a second.
Well, Joey, before you do, I don't know if any of you ever caught, there was one of the Revenge of the Nerds sequels, either 3 or 4, where they actually talked about the difference between how
really?
they looked back when they made part 1 versus the nerd today.
No,
I know that.
we
Hey,
have to
Booger,
put that in the show notes.
Booger, did you ever, when Revenge of the Nerds 4 came out back in 1994?
Did that one have Michael Winslow in it?
Didn't know that was Police Academy.
Oh yeah, the voice guys.
Whoops.
Anyways,
I got mixed up.
No, it had Bubba Smith. In Revenge of the Nerds 4, did you go to 7-Eleven and get the Smell-O-Vision card to watch it with?
No, I didn't know they had. They don't have 7-Eleven out here.
That was
okay.
for 4?
It was for number 4. It was the one in 94.
cool.
Yeah, I remember going to 7-Eleven here across the street because Mike lived next door to Kale here in the complex next door. And we got the Smell-O-Vision and watched it. And it was like a scratch and sniff thing.
Oh
so
my
like
gosh.
you'd smell like
I've always heard of
farts when they
Smell-O-Vision,
farted or
but I didn't
something.
know what movies it was ever
Yeah.
associated with.
That's
cool.
funny.
Well, with the idea of how nerds and geeks used to be, so we'll just use them interchangeably, nerd or geek. And let's take a look at how they were when we were kids, because I know I probably always considered myself more of a geek, but at any rate, I think we can safely say, considered somewhat of an outcast. I mean, I have social anxieties even today, although I'm better medicated for them. And I think that was part of my problem when I was younger. And I was very, I didn't like talking to people. I mean, Paul can remember, like, I didn't want to go dance at the dance. Paul, we used to blow up the dances, remember?
That's right, we did.
That's right. We plant fake
go over
bombs.
and pick bombs. Yeah.
And freaking Daryl would be
Oh,
on the
dude.
bleachers, like, with his freaking jacket around
Yeah,
his
dude,
head.
that was awesome. That was like 8th grade, man.
That whole thing's not appropriate after what happened in Boston, though.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Well,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. Sorry.
Eesh.
well, we used. Look, we were.
Well, I mean, I know
we
it's
didn't
make
blow up
believe.
a
I know it's
and we
make
had
believe
nothing,
and
man. We
everything.
thought we were a part of
yeah.
GI Joe.
We're doing
for
G.I.
God's
Joe,
sake.
okay?
God, it's not like we were dirty.
No, I mean,
No,
like,
wait.
definitely things
Are you-
that
is
more
anybody-
innocent interpretation back then.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Booger.
But I wanted to be
Is
clear.
please tell me no, but has anybody heard any of the jokes going around already about the Boston Marathon?
Oh, geez.
No,
You,
have
sir,
not.
are being a bit too timely for this podcast.
Yes. Remember,
This won't be released
Okay.
for
It's
3
not
weeks.
released.
Yeah.
It'll be over.
Still, though, it's going to
Yeah.
be in the public eye for a while. So
Yeah.
I think it's safe to hit upon.
There are sick people out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, some of them are horribly out of taste, but the reason I ask is because I went to one of my Army training classes. He timed it pretty well. He had a picture of the old-fashioned Cesar Romero Joker saying, "Let's go to Boston and have a blast." And I'm just thinking, that probably has to be one of the most innocuous of all the jokes that I've heard so far.
Wow.
But I'm just trying to think, is it just an Army thing, or is it pretty much permeated society as a whole?
No, I haven't heard anything.
I haven't heard.
Well, I
haven't
think the
looked
Military
The,
has gallows humor.
I think
But
you're
the
just bringing us
internet
down, Booger.
the internet is like that anyway.
bunch of
because
nerds.
Nerds!
I think wherever you can find anonymity on the internet, like
Yeah.
FTP,
That's
whatever,
right.
yeah, you just get people that are going to be trolls, and you get other people that are
Yeah.
going to be completely
Spineless.
insensitive and throw everything out there just to get people's goats. But I mean, I'm also
I feel like crap now.
I'm also a proponent of laughing things off too. But I mean, it just seems like it's too soon for that right now.
That's my thinking of it all.
Yeah.
So, back to the topic. Topic!
Yeah.
This is my topic, and here you go, I'm making it all.
Well,
Okay. Let me
20, 30
relate.
years in a.
Okay, relate.
Let me relate one thing about what
Go.
you said about blowing up the dance or whatever and making
Yeah.
it just a joke. Like you're just an innocent kid back then. And I remember in second grade, I was really good friends with Mark Fuentes at the time, and
he wasn't a nerd.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying that, like, just talking about, like, how there's a different innocence when you're that age.
Yeah.
I remember the school having a campaign about saying, like, say no to gangs, don't start a gang. But, like, Mark and I had talked about starting a gang.
Oh,
But, but we're thinking
It
of,
was
like,
different,
alfalfa and buckwheat, you know? Like,
It's a
we're not-
club.
we had no concept
Twisters
of
was a
drug
gang.
dealing,
Yeah, no kidding.
you know, groups that kill each other
Yeah.
and stuff like that. You know, that wasn't what it was about. And when the school said that, don't start a gang, I'm like, well, why not? It's just like a clubhouse, right?
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying about the bombing, the dance thing. It wasn't taken seriously.
No,
obviously.
no,
It's
no.
all make believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, to talk about like 20 or 30 years ago, and experiences that I've had when I was a kid, I was in this weird place, and Paul will remember this probably more than anyone else, but Daryl and Joe might get a little bit of it. I wanted just basically to be different from everyone else. But that was just a cover thing. Like, I'd wear my socks up high.
And thus your nickname.
Right, which was knee high. And the thing was, I did it
Fedora.
to be different.
You had your fedora
I had my
all the time.
white fedora hat. I wore neon shorts that didn't
You know,
like
you were
match with
you were
anything.
ready for retirement at age 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just put
Yes.
Joey in Florida.
Oh, I am so going to put
Yeah.
some pictures on the show notes that are just, oh my
Yeah.
God. And so the thing was, but I was very, very socially awkward, and I was always fighting my fears of, trying to be more out there. Strangely, my social awkwardness was never in front of large groups. I can public speak with no problem, but it's like being in a group of people I kind of know, but not really, or first meeting them and it's a small group. That really, even till today, is really hard for me. So I was a nerd geek in that way, but I embraced it, and I was like, I want to be different. And when and Paul and I loved Weird Al Yankovic, and when he started liking Guns N' Roses, I was like, dude, that's normal. That's the normos.
Yeah.
Why are you liking Guns N' Roses? I'm not gonna like them.
I still like Weird Al.
Yeah, but
It's true. Yeah.
But
it's
now I've
we're
gone past
crossover
that.
nerds, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Crossover geeks.
and I've gone past that now, where I don't dislike something because it's popular, but I never really wanted to be popular. I liked my small group of friends, which are mostly in this room right now.
Well, I never
For my
really
school.
thought ourselves as real like nerds and stuff
No,
because
I didn't.
even though we were in,
Oh, dude, we were the AV club.
I know we were. I was gonna say we were in the AV.
We were
club.
in the gaming
Joey
club.
and I. Hell,
We
we
were in
still get
gaming club.
Transformers. We were buying Transformers in 10th grade
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
and reading comic books.
I thought of us more as kids that just really didn't grow up.
But even though we were in the AV club, we still like. At least I remember I would talk to the different type of people in the school. I was not maybe not friends with, but I would talk to the football team people and the cheerleaders and the just whoever.
Yeah.
I did that my senior year, but up till that point I didn't talk to anyone. I was like in the shadows.
Well, the thing is, I think we have a real life Revenge of the Nerds, especially starting around like the late 90s, maybe the early 2000s, because look at who built the internet.
You did? We did?
it's all the geeks.
Oh my gosh! We should
not
have more money.
necessarily us.
I knew
but
my computer was awesome.
But I
Wait a
mean,
minute,
all the
wait.
geeks that
What does
got
Al
pushed-
Gore have to do with anything?
But all the geeks that were being pushed around in high school and college are the ones that became the millionaires, like Mark Zuckerberg and all that stuff. And the technology that the masses use were created by
Right, and that's I think that's why
society.
there is the rise of the geek now, and
like
why it's become so popular.
Yesterday's AV Club is making today's podcast.
Well,
Right.
Because a nerd
Yeah.
is a like a what's I reading quote? Something like a nerd is like I'm sorry to be closer. Nerd's an expert in math and science and makes six figures.
Right. Yeah. Okay. What were you gonna say?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well,
If I
okay.
remember, I'll say it.
But also, human beings are clannish also because we want to be
Right.
around people like us. And I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that's part of the
now
thing
I
too is that
remember.
there's definitely there's an identity with geekdom.
Yeah.
You can feel at home with your geek buddies and geek out about all the.
Oh,
different
I mean,
things.
just I remember the midnight showing Revenge of the Sith, and just being in. They let us inside the theater early, like 3-4 hours early, so we got to hang out. People were playing like trivia games and stuff.
Wow.
It was just like a party in there.
Yeah.
I think. Well, I want to ask you guys, since a lot of us were kind of nerdish or geekish when we were young, did you have any bad instances where you were? Because I don't feel like I was really picked on too much. Because I kept quiet. Like I had a guy come up to me once. I still remember middle school and said something about my socks, and I went, "Ah, yeah!" Like right in his ear, and he just got scared and walked away.
And so, just in turn, you did it, and everyone else is here.
You know,
Well,
Well, no, I never did that again, but I don't
I do
remember.
want to chime in on that.
I don't remember being bullied. I remember. You know what I remember, Paul? I remember when we rode around the block sometimes on our bikes when we were younger. Some kids would mess with us.
Yeah.
And
the brother, the Campos brother that lived down the street from my mom's stuff would yell, like say things as we went by.
right, but it never escalated into anything
No.
bad. I mean, did you guys?
Well,
ever,
I got
one.
picked on a lot, in my younger years in school, but I think it was more about my weight than my intelligence.
Right,
you know?
right.
well,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
how
I was all that smart.
That's
of a
how I
kid
was. I was a
anyway,
little
really.
skinny kid. I still, but
well,
yeah.
when after I broke that guy's leg, nobody picked on me anymore.
Dude, Kale is so awesome. It's just like we're like, oh, we're getting picked on right now. He's like, after I broke somebody's leg, yeah, that's right.
And after he kicked me in the nose, I just laid off after
Check the
a
show
while.
notes now. We gotta find
We still
that.
got footage of that. No,
Ooh, I should find it.
no. I mean, it's like I said.
bet it's on
It's
high-
almost pathological in me that this guy kicked my shoe across the gym, and that was red. That's what I saw.
Oh, really?
Went after him. So
nice.
Yeah,
You
see,
know?
for me, I never had that need to do that. I guess maybe there were times I wanted, but I don't have memories of it
I was
ever.
an angry kid sometimes.
Yeah, I had that in.
You're an angry kid.
I had that in 8th grade.
8th
I
grade?
remember I don't know the guy's name, but he was in our science class. Eddie might remember. He sat next to me, and we'd be like listening to Mr. Weiss and all that, and he'd come over and slam me like right in the leg.
Dude.
And it's a big kid, right? And then we're in the same PE, and he would do that, and I'd be just like, "That wasn't Fedemeier."
Okay.
And I remember walking. I still remember walking in front of the gym and stuff. And he'd come by and he'd start hitting me in the arm, and I just went off on him. I didn't do any damage,
Right.
but I just went I jumped him, and I just went crazy. I don't know what I was doing, but I just remember going nuts.
And what happened?
Well, we got in trouble because Mr. Lawrence came over and said what is going on. But then after that, he left me alone.
He left you alone.
Yeah,
I got-
it's like
I got in a
Fonzie
lot of-
said to Richie in Happy Days, you have to have hit somebody once.
Yeah.
Yeah, once they after that they respect you a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was in all sorts
Rabbit
of
Wolverine.
all sorts of fights between 4th grade and 7th grade.
I
But then after
remember.
that, nothing.
Yeah, you know what? I think for me, I'm so.
And I
Oh, hi,
Oh,
Booger.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's hard when you're not sitting here.
no, I even tried chiming in earlier, but you guys didn't hear me.
I heard you.
I
but then
remember
it
back in our. Okay, right, thank you. I remember back in our freshman year in high school, we were in PE class. We're actually ending up heading back towards the locker rooms, and at one point, Joey, and Johnny Nguyen, you may remember him.
Yeah, I remember
had
Johnny.
You had both gotten frisbees, and you were pretending you guys were playing Tron.
Right.
And as we're walking back towards the locker room, I don't remember who it was, but somebody who was kind of walking in the same proximity as me was walking the same direction. He talks to us. He just kind of shakes his head and looks at his friend and goes, "These idiots are pretending they're Tron." I just remember looking over at you, and you had this look to kill on your eyes, but you didn't stop. You almost as if I stop, I'll give him credence. So I'm just gonna keep on playing.
You know, I did have a temper back
I
then.
remember that.
You know-
I remember that ever since.
Speaking about being in kind of a humiliating situation, that reminds me of when we were doing 6th period dropouts. That
Yeah.
Video. Remember the scene where I have the football and I'm running
Yeah,
circles around
yeah.
Joe? Well, the entire football team
Yeah.
was walking up the varsity
Yeah, I
football
remember,
team.
yeah.
And they're all like, "Oh, that's nice, buddy. Oh, really good." They were just poking all sorts of fun at me, but we were doing it for the shot.
I was so impressed that you did that though, because I would have been scared to do
I mean,
it.
I was intentionally making a fool of myself,
Yeah.
but I still remember it though, because it was kind of horrific in a way. It's oh my gosh, they're really digging in on me. Then I'm just here doing a shot for something slapstick and funny,
You know, Booger, you bring up that, and I do remember now, actually, I never got in confrontations because I was non-confrontational, but I did get upset a lot at people. I do remember, it's you brought back these emotions. How could you? But yeah, I want to go kick some ass right now.
Let's do
Hide
it.
the axe.
Oh my God. Should we go into that story? Maybe another time.
Let's just say it was a camping trip. Joey got kind of emotional. I consulted with Ralph to find out if we really should hide the fire axe.
So I was.
It wasn't a big axe.
So I had went and pouted in the front of the car, and they're in the tent, and it was Daryl's van, the Slick, and I'm just sitting there. I'm seeing one of them coming, and they just open the back. I don't know what they're doing. And then they closed the back. they took the ass. I was kind of really upset. I had a temper back then. Anyway, so okay, let's talk about the system's good and bad. Let's talk about the gird.
By the way, fire axe, that means the little tiny axe we use to chop our firewood.
Yes,
Not a fire axe.
Yeah.
Like a big red fire axe.
Golden axe.
dude, we can make a horror movie about Jody and the fire axe.
Like
It's a new
Rastan.
superhero Rastan.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. Why don't we talk about how things have changed? Because obviously, being a nerd and a geek today it's not the coolest thing to be, but it's pretty cool.
I think it is the coolest thing.
I have an idea of why that it's becoming cooler, and I think it's because more and more people cannot escape computers.
Yep.
And everybody has to use them. Everybody has to know how to use them. And so that brings everybody into that nerd and geek realm. So more and more people are there. And so it's harder to make fun because
Well, who do you turn
the
to?
outcast?
Who do you turn to when your technology breaks?
Well, you turn to the super nerds.
Yeah.
Who do you depend on
the
to write the
geeks.
program?
But then back in the day,
Right.
Yeah.
who had the 20-pound laptop and the computer and stuff? It was the geeks and nerds. And now it's like you have your iPads and your phones and stuff and all that. People know technology and has accepted it. I also think that science has become more fun and entertaining than it has been. Where back in the day, we didn't have like the Science Channel, and we didn't have freaking Morgan Freeman like narrating freaking everything.
It's more accessible now.
Gaining more
skin tags.
freckles.
But I think back then, the study, like if you were into physics or into how the world was or the universe and stuff, that was a nerd thing. And you had to go to the library and get a book, or you had to watch PBS.
Yeah.
But now it's in HD. It's fun to watch, and they make it entertaining for everybody.
You know, it's possible the
Well,
idea.
like Mythbusters.
Mythbusters,
It's possible
exactly.
that the idea of the nerd or the geek was something that was brought about by things like technology. And so maybe more people are becoming nerd and geek like, not just because you need to be for technology, but you know, it kind of does give you the ability to focus more on specific things and be the Back to the Future geek or the what was the other one? A Star Trek geek or whatever. You don't have to go out and buy books or anything anymore. You could join a club online, you know. So maybe there's just more opportunity now to be into things like nerds and geeks are.
And average people are getting into it because look at the phones. You have people that 20 years ago, you know, wouldn't be into technology and stuff, and now you got people who are like want to get every new iPhone that comes out or every new Apple product that comes out. They're sitting in line. Did you fart?
I still got a flip phone.
I'll let you know.
Wait, Booger, did you say you still have a flip phone?
Here.
He's
Let me,
using
where
it
the
right
hell?
now.
There you go.
We don't have video.
Yeah. Who don't?
Oh, it's video!
Hey, look at that.
Whoa!
Oh, man. Take a picture of that with
So
your
is that
phone.
why you
Such
don't
a nerd!
Nerds! By the way, did anybody notice that Ogre committed homicide at the very beginning of Revenge of the Nerds? He dropped a guy off like the fourth-story building.
That's another thing I wanted to ask you. What everybody thought at the end of Revenge of the Nerds.
Okay, yeah.
When Skolnick, right, goes to the moon, doesn't he basically rape her?
No, he goes down on her. I figured that was what happened.
Actually, technically speaking, because he was not who she thought or who she thought he
guess you're
was,
right, he
that
was.
does count as
He-
rape.
he
Yes.
is-
She thought he was Ted.
And that's how we know this is fiction, because that would never have happened. She would have been like, ah!
Like, oh, and then he comes up with the mask, and she's like, oh, that was wonderful. Like, dude,
Right.
just stuck your
It's
tongue
only
out.
rape if afterwards she
Well-
says, I didn't like that.
Yeah, and if she's a slut, you know.
Didn't want it.
True, I guess so.
So,
There's a very weird
We're going
connotation with that
way
part of the movie.
Yeah.
it is very strange.
Yeah.
Especially that little green alien painted on the wall looking down at him.
Yeah.
Okay, so now nerds, geeks are positive, probably because of technology, you know, probably because there's more opportunity for connections and networking. But let's talk about one of the things that's helped it and probably shown the best...
The best side?
No, well, not the best side, but the best is
Light?
encapsulated nerds and geeks these days, which is The Big Bang Theory. I didn't
Yeah.
put that in the notes, but I think that's obviously. I mean,
It could be called Revenge of the Nerds, and it would
In a
be
way.
an appropriate title.
I mean,
Well, I think one of the things about them is they do definitely show the being afraid of girls aspect, how they react to the pretty girl that lives down the hallway from them. And there's that one character that just
Raj.
can't even,
Raj,
Yeah,
Raj can't even talk to
Unless
girls.
he drinks.
But
Unless he
but then
thinks he drinks.
also they're like they're physicists studying at Caltech also. So they're
these
also
are professors.
right. They're given a pretty high stature in terms of their potential to be successful. So
But they have girlfriends,
yeah,
so they're not totally social
eventually.
awkward. Eventually, yeah.
yeah.
most
It
of
gets
them.
into that. They got to keep the story going.
Yeah, but no, and but that's the thing is, I think that's the whole idea. When it starts off, and none of them have girlfriends. None of them. They all are growing throughout
Yeah.
the series, which is one of the reasons it's such a good series because the character growth is incredible in that. And even Sheldon, who really makes the show, I mean, he is hilarious in that show, and he has such a disorder. Like, how could he ever end up with a girlfriend? And they made it work. I mean, and it's true to the story. So it's I just love how the characters develop in that, and it shows how I think people with nerd-like or geek-like tendencies can develop. It doesn't mean you're going to be socially awkward for life necessarily.
And they make it funny, but it's not derogatory. It's not
It's not
shining. It's not mean. Exactly.
Right.
It's not making nerds look like Revenge of the Nerds. It's making fun of their comic books and their.
I think some of
whatnot.
the biggest fans of the show are the ones that can look at the show and laugh at themselves.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
I was watching it from the beginning because as soon as I found out what it was, I was like, oh, that looks so cool. But I was afraid it would get canceled quick because I didn't think there'd be a following for it.
Yeah.
But it just works. It works really well. And you've got Sheldon who just he's completely awkward, doesn't know anything, but he thinks he's awesome. So he doesn't know what he's doing wrong. He's almost autistic. You've got the classic nerd, which is Leonard.
Yeah.
Thank you, voice in our heads. Leonard, who is basically the classic nerd in every way. And then you've got Raj, who they can't speak to girls, and then you've got Wallowitz, who is
the horny guy.
He's like the booger.
Yeah.
where he's like he
Wait,
does.
what?
What the hell?
Boogers, what?
No, not you. The booger in the movie where he's not really the smart nerd. He's just like, hey, baby, what's going on? You want
He's like
some of
the
this?"
Hey, what the hell?
He's the troublemaker nerd.
Yeah.
The horny nerd.
He's not our smart friend.
So I guess
Not really the smart nerd.
hey,
Did you just call? Wait a minute. Did you just call me the brown guy?
no, we did that
No.
last episode.
Do you want that to
Oh,
be
that's
your
right.
nickname?
Okay, you're the
All right,
brown
brown
guy.
guy.
Hey, brown guy, what do you think about all this?
That's his '80s show.
The brown guy.
Okay, you can call me shoe shine. I'll call you whitewash. How's that?
Oh, my
It's the
God.
brown guy show. And it's North Carolina.
He's a brown guy.
Okay.
He's a brown guy. He's a brown. He's a brown.
Don't call him brown bag.
Because he's the
guy.
brown guy.
We're gonna get our first.
we-
We're finally
Híjole.
gonna get our first email request, and it's gonna be hate mail.
Hey. It's just like
We're
it's just
going
like
to get
somebody-
email? I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's just like somebody like a woman who gets beat. There we get with more hate mail, but it's still attention.
Did you guys see we got a like from somebody who's not our friend?
It'll be fan mail from Aryan Nation. That's what it'll be.
Dude, did you guys see we got a like on one of the pictures?
No,
Anyway,
From somebody, I don't know who it was. It was like a group.
It was probably me.
group. Oh, great! It was there.
the internet likes us.
Hey, we were liked by Incoherent Ramblings. What a
Wow, we like ourselves. We're our own.
No, it was
we're our own friends.
It was a picture of Daryl that I put up, and it was liked by like physics something. Hang on.
Really?
Yeah, but they might not have seen it
They might not
from
have
the
known.
show.
All right, we're way
Here,
off
right here,
track
right here. +1 disruptive tech forecasting, nanotech, biotech.
All right.
Oh, hey, nice.
Let's give a shout out to.
Let's see what this is. This was the one with Daryl going. Woo.
They probably want us to buy
Dang.
something.
Yeah, probably. It's probably one of those
Yeah.
spam sites.
Yeah, I made 34,000 last month or something.
Right.
You know.
And I'm somebody from somewhere.
I lost 2,000 pounds. Tell me. I'll tell you how.
Okay, so anyway,
And that was 2,000 pounds rather than losing your euros.
Oh, yes.
Bad investment all around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm killing it with the bad jokes tonight. Sorry.
Sorry, I lost my notes.
Wonka.
So we're on.
Oh no! No more Wonka!
Wonka nerd.
No!
Wait. Do you remember that Star Wars commercial with the kid? He's got the Wampa and he's like, Wampa, Wampa, Wampa.
No.
You gotta look it up.
No.
Like, is it old?
Okay, show
Like
notes. Yeah, it's like
Alright.
it's like a
OG?
late
Okay,
70s.
Oh, okay.
I just saw Booger's picture he put up
Oh
on
wait,
the thing.
wait, that would be Empire.
It would have been
it's
Empire. So it would have been
early
like
80s,
80,
early
82,
80s.
81. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
You may be cool, but you'll never be as cool as Darth Vader in a kilt on a unicycle playing bad guys. I agree 100%.
Just
Okay.
saying. Just saying.
Share that with Christine. She'll like it.
That's
Perfect.
freaking hilarious. Okay, anyway, back to our talking, which we've not been talking about for like 5 minutes. Okay, so positive view did all
What
that.
was the show
technology.
about?
I don't know. Geeks and nerds. All right.
Dang.
So
Yeah.
it's can any of you guys talk any more about how geeks and nerds have been positive? I mean, think about Comic-Con
Well,
in San Diego.
Yeah, it's-
Maybe. Okay.
Go ahead, dude.
Well, I was going to say, since we were talking about shows, there have been like positive geeks, or at least people who think critically in a lot of shows. Like think about House, Numbers, Bones,
Numbers
all the
definitely would
CSI
qualify for a
series.
geek.
Like it's kind of like glorifying the critical thinkers and maybe kind of geeky people.
You know, maybe it's just a change, not just technology, but a change in society to maybe a more. I mean, we've always looked at nerds and geeks as kind of social outcasts before, but maybe that's changing now. And the idea of,
It
of a
is.
nerd
I
or
think
geek
it
is less of a social outcast and more of, like you're saying, a critical, rational thinker who doesn't do things just based on emotions or feelings, gets into this group because they want to, but does what they want and what they like and is not afraid to show it. And maybe that's kind of an evolution of society as we grow.
Or maybe it's just
It
because
started with Einstein.
we rooted for the underdog so long that now they're our heroes.
So soon the underdog will be the jocks and we'll start.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it reverses.
It reverses.
Yeah, there's like the downtrodden jock who's like, I'm not smart enough to get into chess club.
nobody comes to our games and watches us.
Cyberbullying.
Exactly. All those guys that program web pages get all the girls.
I am very glad that we did not grow up in the age that we have now with cyberbullying
Yeah.
and Facebook and Twitter
That
and
is
all that
pretty
stuff
rough.
But-
because we didn't have to deal with what the kids have to deal with today, because where things may have been said to kids and stuff on the playground or at lunch or whatever, now it's being posted online, it's there forever and spread throughout the whole school.
And what makes it
within
worse?
seconds.
And what makes and what?
Dude, are you cutting your hairs?
Snip, snip. He's using a keyboard to do it, but that's fine.
We're talking about you, Booger.
What I do? What? Who?
Nothing. Never mind. All right.
I love having him.
I know.
You know, usually you don't sleep through the episodes that we actually phone you on.
No, I'm just listening, just enjoying it. Since there seems to be a delay, I thought I'd use it to my advantage. Now, what the hell are we talking about cutting hair?
Oh, all I hear is snip, snip, snip.
You're
snip,
typing
snip.
on your keyboard. It sounds
Yeah, it's
like,
kinda like
snipping-
scissors.
snipping.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I put you guys on mute. My 1,000 apologies.
That's
I think.
okay. I thought we had Booger's beauty salon going on.
The BBS. Booger Beauty Salon. So, what about Comic-Con? I mean, here's the big one. Hot girls.
Yes.
I was going to go chicks, but
Yes.
hot women like
yeah.
dressing up in nerd costumes.
Yes.
Can I just throw something out there?
No,
Hold
no,
on,
I
Daryl.
want to hear Joe call them hot bitches.
Hot bitches and some
Hot
nerd out.
pocket.
What is this, Lando again? So I wanted, before we go to Comic-Con though, I just wanted to mention that it seems like our podcast included, like a lot of geekery and nerddom is all like male perspective stuff. If you think about the stuff that nerds and geeks get into, it's like Lord of the Rings. What is it? It's a bunch of men running across the country to destroy a ring, and
A bunch of hot, sweaty men.
everything.
That's
You
like
know,
Magic
and like
Mike.
look at all the sci-fi out there. Is like, you know, we talked about how the original Star Wars was like you know,
Two.
Princess Leia. There were
Oh,
like
yeah.
2 women in the whole movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Universe.
And it's like that with the shows.
Yeah,
too.
Slain
Think about,
Princess Leia, Slain Princess Leia.
Yeah.
think about what we talked about with Big Bang Theory. You know, all the main characters are boys. So
And,
it's
and there was only one girl on the show to begin with.
and they
now
also
there's
kind of played
4.
her a little bit as the ditzy one too.
Yeah.
She got
Yeah.
I think they made her a little more realistic later on, but yeah, they were kind of playing up how she was not in the same league as them.
She was a ditzy slut.
Well, look at Revenge.
Yeah.
Okay, Revenge of the Nerds. The girl
Yeah.
was playing kind of like that cheerleader ditzy
Yeah.
role. I
So I
mean, she
think,
did
like,
whatever the jock said and stuff type things, and then finally changed at the end and started thinking for herself.
I guess my point is that it has to be pretty hard to be a girl geek, I think, because you wind
Because
up with
girl
all these
geeks are
like
hot.
awkward, sweaty guys that just want to like look at you.
Sweaty.
And,
You go to at Comic-Con, you get
balls.
one girl dressed up as slave of anything,
Right.
and you got 20 guys around it because
Right.
they're like, oh my god, it's a girl,
yeah.
and got to take
But
a picture.
nowadays, though, isn't it like there's lots out there?
Yeah.
There's a lot, but it's still I want to say like a 10-to-1 ratio. It's still more guys than girls. What's great is when all the girls get together for one picture. But see, like what I do is like I'll go take pictures, but I'll shove my nephew up there, so I got to take a picture of the girl, but I'm actually taking a picture of him.
Right. Very
Well,
sly. Very
you.
sly.
But now but isn't Comic-Con expanding where it's like not just the shows anymore? I mean, you've been down there.
It has nothing to do about comics anymore.
I mean, you could like see
Yeah.
like
Nothing.
there's people
It's
selling cooking
fantasy.
stuff. Like,
Yeah. There's
or you got
Science fiction.
it's all about now. Comic-Con is all about the movie studios and the TV studios promoting the big.
so it could
big
be pretty
stuff.
much anybody now. I mean, you're looking at they're selling how to make what are what's the ShamWow guy like? Do they have the like the
No,
little,
no, they don't have those guys there. It's still like a geek.
It's still
nerd
pretty
thing,
much
but it's
geek.
you go in there and you do have like the Frankenstein type area where you have people selling their collectibles and stuff.
By the way, that's kind of a local thing.
It's a local thing,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a-
We're in Southern California. Look at
Collectibles
Frankensteins.com.
swap meet. Yeah.
And then you have the up and coming artists and the B actors and stuff having there, like the greatest American hero guy. Lou Ferrigno's always there. Those type of actors. And then like the main stages and stuff, you have Warner Brothers, Sony,
Oh, and they're doing their
Mattel,
big- right.
Hasbro, and they have the big announcements
still
where you
wanna
got to
get-
stand. The Walking Dead.
is right.
You had to get in line at 2 a.m. the night before just to be able to get into the 4 or 5 o'clock panel the next day.
So, do you notice like a bad element there? Like, are there like gang members coming down there now, or
No.
or nothing like that?
No, I don't see anybody like that. No, it's still
What the hell?
What?
unless that's their cosplay
bad
outfit.
element?
Gang members at a Comic Con?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Is it? That was just an example. Like,
Yeah,
More
no,
mainstream.
like
no,
mainstream coming in. Like, is it something that everybody's?
Are you
remember how
trying,
Matt?
are you
No,
trying
no,
to
no.
ask if it's becoming more brown?
No, I wasn't going there. I was going like Magic Mountain, dude. I was going like Magic
No,
Mountain. You know how
no.
it got all
Okay.
like
Because
Yeah,
it's-
yeah,
you still
that's
have
true.
to pay for it.
When they
The gang
started
members aren't
dressing
gonna
up
pay.
all the
right. Can you imagine? Like, what are they eating there? Like, they have good food, right? Or is it like Italian fettuccine
The food-
alfredo?
Are you
Go to
saying brown
Comic-Con?
people don't like good food?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Could you imagine a gang member? They're going to, and one guy's like, "Let's eat McDonald's," and then the other guy's like, "But blood, fettuccine alfredo is something that's
No,
really good."
it's still
No, well, here we also have to remember. Remember when gang members infested over what the Magic Mountain? You have to pay to get into there.
What we need
That's a
is
stretch.
now is
yeah,
we need a
but
button for an audible bitch slap.
but in order to get into Comic-Con, you have to
I was
get
working on
online
that one for 5 minutes. All right.
That was good.
That was a good one. 6 months before and getting online to
fettuccine.
get.
What's fettuccine?
it's a chini that you're
But
really
there's no
into.
gang members there. The geeks will kick their ass if they have to. And there's police. and all
There's
that.
going to be some Italian listening to this
stormtroopers
podcast going, "You
everywhere.
have no idea what a chini is."
All right.
Wonder
Munching.
Woman.
All right, so I guess this comes down. I think we're really near. How are we doing on time? 53. We're early. What I want to ask you guys: what the hell did you put on here, Booger? Oh, women, nice.
Slave lay a pillow fight.
No, okay, isn't that what like male geeks think though? Like all women are just objects of desire.
Honestly,
Well, read the bottom part of it. You only read the top part.
somewhere
Read the
there's a
bottom.
nerd with only 2 wishes left. See, and here's the thing:
Wow.
I was never really attracted to the slave Leia thing.
Okay.
It's not just wasn't my thing.
Really?
Yeah.
You damn
You saw,
communist.
you saw
you
how
gay?
Carrie Fisher turned out. That's why.
Maybe I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know the metal bikini thing. I'm more
How
into
can
cloth.
you not think that's hot?
It's all right. It's good, but she's kind of small boobs and
Just think
she wasn't that
about
pretty.
the
I
metal's
think
kind
you
of
need to give up your
cold
man
and-
card, man.
Oh.
No.
No, yeah, I agree with that one.
Just think,
I gave-
metal bras, they're kind of cold. They keep things chilled.
You guys,
know?
I gave up my man card a long time ago.
Who was the referee that took it from you?
There was no referee. It was obvious.
I'm talking like when I was 8.
Oh, okay.
No, I was going to
And
say.
I'm not saying I'm gay. I'm just a feminine.
You're,
Knit.
a lesbian trapped in a.
Whatever. I'm
Joey was metrosexual before it was cool.
well, no, because I'm not metrosexual.
He was metrosexual before it had a name.
Wait. I'm not metrosexual because that means like you wear like nice clothes and you're all fancy free.
No, it just means you have a sense of style.
I don't have a sense of style.
I know that's
This
what's so
man, this
disturbing.
man likes the combination of green and purple.
I know.
All right.
Oh my god, I loved green and purple in high school. I wore these neon green shirts or shorts and a purple short. Oh, it's a Nike.
Just do it.
Thank you, Ralph. Okay, so my question for you guys is being a nerd or a geek a choice, or is it just how we are? Is it genetic?
Oh, good grief.
As with most things, it's a bit of nurture and a bit of nature.
Okay, I think depending on your environment, you could maybe, in one environment turn into a geek, and in another environment you're like a goth, or, you're into screamo or something. It's just like you might just have a certain mentality,
introvert
and depending on who's around
Right.
you, you're just gonna
Introvert,
cling to one group or
extrovert.
another. Yeah,
I mean, if you're
no, but I mean the goths are usually kind of introverted too.
that's what I'm saying. Is if you're naturally an introvert,
emo.
then you're probably going to end up being more like a goth. If you don't go goth, you'll go nerd or something.
And of course,
But if
goth
you're
is
more-
kind of like the old school term for emo.
Yeah.
Now, yeah.
An extrovert is going to be more into, you go one way, you could go jock or sports. You go another way, you could go into stage or,
Oh God, I'm glad that was empty.
No, he had quick
been
reflexes. He caught that one.
Yeah.
Matrix. So,
Joey turned
what do you think,
ninja.
Booger? Is it a choice to be a nerd or a geek, or are you naturally a nerd or a geek?
It's a category. It's a label, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
It's going to be a choice. Whether you have a bunch of individuals with common interests, somebody says, "Hey, look, shove you into." It's
I agree 100%.
It's a choice.
Booger, say that again because we'll want to know in the future what you actually said.
Use Cylon
Okay.
out again.
You siloned out.
That's a new term.
All right.
It's like geeking out.
Just that last phrase.
What?
Do you remember what your last phrase? Never mind. Let's move on.
All right.
This connection isn't being
Yeah,
the best
but-
with you, Boog.
I just have to say,
Oh, well.
I refuse
Two.
to be categorized.
Yeah.
You're male though. Okay, fine. You're not.
Yeah. Which clothing department do you shop in?
That,
Mr.
whatever
I
hell
refuse.
one I
Oh,
want.
Okay, fine.
Whatever's on sale.
See, I have to go against that, Kale.
So you're
'cause-
gonna be
Hey,
hanging out.
thank you, Paul.
You're gonna be hanging out in the business
welcome.
section
You and I
at
share
Target
the
getting
same
arrested.
arrested.
Whatever's on sale.
Yeah.
Dude, I went into Kohl's the other day. I had a $10 Kohl's cash from Heather, right? And she was in the car with her aunt. And
Hey,
the
that's
kids and
Kohl's
stuff.
hard cash.
Kohl's hard cash. I went in to go in, and I was in there for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and it seemed like forever trying to find something.
Well, dude,
I got pissed off
you were
and
in a
bought-
Kohl's. Hello.
That's
Did you
true.
go to the toy section?
I did go to the toy section.
They got some
I ended
pretty
up buying 2 shirts.
They have
for,
a toy
for
section
Logan.
at Kohl's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes they got stuff hard to find.
Oh.
But anyway,
Start shopping there once in a while.
I was gonna go somewhere from something. Oh, right, Kale. Don't
Yeah.
like to be categorized, but I have to disagree. I have to say the categorization is sometimes good use as a tool, so
But I already am a tool.
Oh, all right.
But that's a category.
Touche.
Anyway, I
I'm
think
a
what it is.
I'm a non-categorical.
Okay, maybe-
categorical?
But then that's a category too.
Maybe I can put my finger on something here.
No, don't
Leave that
get it
alone.
away.
Leave that alone.
Don't touch it.
No, what I mean
Don't
is,
touch me.
what I mean is,
Not there.
I think maybe what you're saying is you
Touching
don't
tools and
want
wood.
other people to put you in a box.
Oh, there you go.
You
Yeah.
want to define yourself.
I want to jump from box to box. That's what
Okay,
I want.
well, Linda might have something to say about that.
It's like,
Did
whoa,
not
whoa.
come out well.
I should probably have something to say about that. So, I guess to close this up, what I'd like to bring up is this just a pendulum swing with the geek thing, where there's going to be a backlash? Because many times when something gets very popular for a while, it's a fad, then it becomes something that people are rail against.
Well,
or at least groups do.
Maybe everyone's going to get kind of mad that all the geeks, have the money and the fame and everything, and maybe.
Well, I think if it becomes the norm, it's just.
Well, the question is it going to be the norm, or is it like a fad that's really popular? Like, how...
Like a hipster?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Kind of one of those things like like SUVs. They got really popular all of a sudden, and then there was like this big backlash against them.
I think there's cycles, because I look at the kids now.
Yeah.
They're like the middle school, like my nephews, my neighbors, and all that. They're wearing skinny jeans, which I do not own, but they're all into like graphic tees and stuff. And I always tell them, I said, dude, we started that.
Yeah.
We wore the X-Men shirts. We wore the Spider-Man shirts. We wore that. And now it's like,
everybody.
You go to JCPenney, and there's like, you used to have to go to the specialty store or the comic book shop or whatever to get those shirts. Now you
used
go to
to buy our
JCPenney,
Michael Jackson shirts at the
Kmart.
thrift shop. That's right.
Yeah. But you could not find, the Spider-Man shirts at Target.
Yeah,
and now it's everywhere. I mean, my son wears everything Marvel, everything DC. It's like he has the shirts that I wanted to wear back then.
Remember when you wanted a band shirt, you had to actually go to the concert?
Yeah.
But now it's like you go to just about anywhere and you get like.
Dude, I watched the Penny's commercial and the kid's wearing a Guns N' Roses shirt. I'm like, dude, he doesn't even know who Guns N' Roses is.
Yeah.
He doesn't know, man.
You don't know, man.
You don't know.
They broke up.
You were
before
there when they
Civil War.
broke up, man. Van Halen. You don't know Van Halen.
GNR.
Freaking Aerosmith.
Back to singular
Are you telling me they were being turkey butts?
Yes!
Turkey butt.
Chicken lick.
Chicken lick.
All right.
Okay,
Hour mark.
All right, boom. As the hour mark progresses, I think we've just about worn this topic out. Anybody want to mention anything else? Any other memories
Just
or
like
ideas?
I wore out the seat of my pants. This was a rip-roaring ride, I tell you.
Did you fart?
Dude, I got swamp ass.
Swamp ass.
We always, for the people
What
out there,
is
we
that?
always have
My
swamp.
butt's like all.
We always
okay,
get
I got it.
we get
here.
swamp ass and swamp balls here because what ends up
sit on the
happening
ball, man.
is we have to turn the air conditioner off and it gets hot in
Excuse
here.
me, it's ball
Yeah.
herpes.
No, that's what Booger gets in his. We don't live in North Carolina. We're clear of that.
Yay! You got it right!
You get
This
the
kid's
you
this
get the
kid's
Koopy
been
doll.
using
Hey, wait, man.
he's been using his Google Earth, I tell you.
What the hell? What did I just miss?
Everything.
Everything.
So let's move on to next.
You got your state right.
Yeah, Joey always.
Actually, yeah, that's right. He was never on when we haven't
Yeah,
had published
when he
yet.
always talked about you, Booger,
you're
he
from
always said
South
the wrong
Dakota
state.
or something. I don't know.
I kept
North
saying the wrong
Carolina,
state
Ireland.
whenever you were off.
Ireland.
No, that's where the napkin fish
South
are.
El Monte.
All right, so next week we will be moving on to a new topic.
Yes, we will.
Do you want to? Ralph would like to say something.
Ralph has a word with us. Quiet, please.
On the geek topic,
Yes.
Get in closer.
another good movie to watch for choices would be Can't Buy Me Love.
Oh, I remember that.
That was a good
Nice one. Yes.
wisdom
Wanna
of Ralph.
see
one. Yes.
The
Okay,
whole
I need to
progress
see it.
of choices. That would be the best.
That was I actually got into that one year. I watched it
I
like
love
over
that.
and over.
I actually made
And now
sure
he's
that was
now
one
he's
of the first
in McDreamy
when it came
or
out
whatever.
on
That's my
McDreamy.
wisdom.
That's
bit.
right.
Yeah, in Grey's Anatomy.
That's Ralph's weekly wisdom. Thank you, Ralph. That's a good
It's
point.
like a
I-
woman's wet dream now.
Now conk him in the head and see what happens.
Not mine.
All right.
But no, that I did like that a lot because that was kind of, we watched
You're
Weird
making
Science.
Noise with your little,
Sorry.
with your little Rick Moranis is making a lot of noise. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hoser.
Oh Vince.
All right, Daryl. Tell us.
Oh, our topic.
Yeah, what's next?
So next week's topic, what are we gonna do?
I think I'm going to bring up one that we bantered around a little earlier: death bits. I want to know what happens to people's online personas, what they own on the internet and what they don't own, and what happens in their legacy when they're gone.
Okay.
like
I like
Okay,
it.
cool.
And that recently came up because Google just started doing something with Google Plus where you can basically say if I don't check into Google
Yes.
Plus every so many weeks or so many months, consider me gone. And you'll do one of these things. You'll either delete my profile and all the data, or hand it over to a trusted person. You can have a list of like 10 people that it gets handed over to.
That's kind of cool.
So it figures that, if you die and you don't log in anymore, there's this thing that executes after a certain amount of time.
All right, cool.
I think we'll do that. I think that's an awesome idea.
Thank you.
That's like if you don't listen to this podcast after like 2 sessions, we're still alive, so come on.
And whose proton pack was that charging up?
I could bring one.
Yes, you can.
He's got the sound effect.
Yes.
All right, so we are done with this week. Let's see here. If you would like to find us on the web, me, myself, and I, Joey Schammel, is available. You can find all about me, actually not too much, but a little bit, at IamRambling.com. What about you, Daryl?
You can find me at jors.com, GIORS.
You can find me at heyitspaul.com,
Hey, look, it is.
which actually forwards to my Facebook account, so,
Oh.
man, I got nothing.
Didn't that used to be like a Ghostbusters page for your Ghostbusters?
For a while,
trip?
yeah. It was our.
What happened to that?
They got it's its own web address now, or web name.
All right. It's Kale's turn.
Oh,
Sorry.
and if you want to,
That was my fault.
you can find me
It was.
at romsrants@blogspot.com.
Oh, your kid's next to
Booger, where are you hanging out this
your
week?
nephew.
This week I'm hanging out at
What's it all
Booger's
about?
Mustache
Is that
Rides and
Jane
Hair
or
Trims.com.
Oh,
That's-
yeah.
Next door to the Booger Salon. And, Ralph, can we find you anywhere on the web? Oh, never mind.
I zoom in.
So, everybody, as we zoom in on a pair of breasts, we'd like to say thank you guys very much for joining us. And as they say in downtown LA,
Are they good?
but blood, that is pretty good.
Oh my gosh, I'm not even
But
touching
blood.
that
Boobs! We'll see you next week.
one. What happened to you?
I want to see. I want to see.
I want to see the boobs.
They're on our Trello.
Oh, sorry. We'll see you next week. Bye,
Bye.
guys.
See ya.
Boobs!
Ah,
Yeah, boobs.
I started selling them.
Scooters.
Thanks for listening. You can now stop screaming at the open air. Listeners should put their minds back in their upright positions and resume traditional thinking. Find us on IamRambling.com for access to all of our weekly ramblings, show notes, general discussions, and any projects from Incoherent Ramblings. Like us on Facebook and rate us on iTunes. So long, and thanks for all the fish.